everyone. So today we are going to talk about intergenerational trauma and how it is connected to indigenous people in Canada. Intergenerational trauma means that the effects of painful and harmful experiences can continue from one generation to another. Those experiences can affect individuals, families, and communities over time. It can impact mental health, relationship, cultural identity, and a person's connection to their tradition. For Indigenous people in Canada, intergenerational trauma is strongly connected to the effects of colonization, residential schools, and the loss of important cultural and family connections. Understanding this history helps us recognize the challenges indigenous communities have experienced and the strength they continue to show today. So, today we are going to talk about the history and colonization. To understand the intergenerational trauma, we first need to understand the history. As I earlier mentioned, one of the most harmful parts of colonization was the residential school systems. For more than 150 years, residential schools were operated by the Canadian government and churches. Indigenous children, including First Nation, Inuit, and Métis children, were taken away from their families and communities and forced to attend those schools. More than 15,000 Indigenous children were affected by the residential school system. The purpose of these schools was to remove children from their culture and make them follow European ways of living. Many children were not allowed to speak their own languages, practice their tradition, or maintain connection with their families, or we can say with their parents also. Many survivors experienced harmful treatment which caused emotional pain and trauma. Because children were separated from their families, culture, knowledge, tradition, relationships were totally affected. These losses create impacts that continued through future generations. Thank you.
So, how trauma continues? Intergenerational trauma explains how the effect of past traumatic experiences can continue to affect children, grandchildren, and future generations. Research by Hackett and colleagues found that families with a history of residential school attendance experience difference in health and mental health outcomes. This shows that historical experiences can continue to affect people many years later. Another study by Ilias and colleagues also explored the connection between residential school experiences and trauma-related impact among indigenous communities. The effect of intergenerational trauma can be seen in many areas, including mental health, family, relationships, culture, identity, and experience of discrimination. It is important to understand that these challenges are not caused by indigenous cultures or communities. They are connected to the colonization operation and the loss of important cultural connection. At the same time, indigenous communities continue to demonstrate strength, resilience, and the ability to heal.
So today I am continuing with the healing and recolonization. So healing from intergenerational trauma involves the impacts of the past and supporting communities in rebuilding connections with their cultures, language, identify and relationships. Indigenous approaches to healing focus on connections, spirituals and cultural strength. Reconnecting with the culture can help support healing and wellness. The National Center for Truth and Recolonization works to preserve survivor stories and educate Canadians about the history and the lasting impact of residential schools. Truth telling, learning about Indigenous experience, and respecting Indigenous voices are important steps towards recolonization. By understanding intergenerational trauma, we can become more aware of the sport, respectful and relationship based on the understanding, respect and reconciliation. So now at the end I will talk about the reference. So you can see the first three one is the like peer reviewed reference, and the next two one is a government reference. So thank you, have a good day.